Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it. It's AFR Saints, your home for daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Please subscribe, smash the like button, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And our content this football season is presented by BetUS. Score a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Enjoy the video. Who dat? Very glad to have Sean Salisbury back for the first time here in 2025. College football playoffs, semis, the NFL playoffs getting underway. Saints looking for a coach, and we're thrilled to have our guy with us here. Sean, Happy New Year, man. Thanks for the time as always. How are you?
No problem. Happy New Year. I'm doing well, and it's good to be with you.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Saints are one of 6 now head coaching jobs open after Antonio Pierce got fired. Thoughts on which is the worst job? Is it Saints or Raiders?
I don't know, man. The dysfunction with the Jets is not exactly a great job. I know it's a big market, but hell, how do they get that right? I mean, that's not exactly your fair. And the front office in Chicago makes that a little bit difficult, meaning ownership. So if you take into looking from top to bottom, I think there's a lot of, but you're going to jump on them because everybody's ego as a coach thinks they can fix it. And I understand that, especially if you're a first-time head coach, Matt. But of those two, and I've known Mickey a long time. When I was a Seattle Seahawks rookie, Mickey was in our finance department there, and has obviously I've known Mickey for a lot of years, and I have a lot of respect for him. What I don't like in this search is the talk of the head coach. I think it was, Aaron Glenn obviously is going to get a lot of looks, as is the Ben Johnsons all over, Mike Vrabels. I don't like a general manager deciding who my coaches are. I wouldn't take the job if I had more than one offer. I wouldn't do it. Not because even if it was I do not listen, because that automatically going in tells you that you got handcuffs on you, that your hands are tied. You're not getting, and so I would ask you, so then if it fails, do you fire, if you take the gig and they keep 7 coaches from the staff, does Mickey get fired with the assistant coaches and the head coach keep the job since it was his hire? Or does the head coach, I love Mickey, but I don't agree when Jerry does that, when Jason Garrett was there. I absolutely 100% unequivocally disagree with you telling a coach that he has to hire the people that, if you want this job, that here's the conditions. You got to take 5 or 6 guys on this staff. Well, why would I want to take 5 or 6 guys on a staff that hadn't made the playoffs? I mean, why do I want that? And not saying they can't coach, but I need new. And if I'm turning it over to you and empowering you, like we do players these days, then I should have the right to hire them, because then I'm tied to them. Just like a general manager should be tied to the person they draft and the head coach they hire. The coach needs to be tied to the assistant coaches he hires, and obviously wins and losses and production, and do you get better. So as much as I like Mick, I'd say this if it was any city. I don't care if it's my favorite team.
We'll get right back to the video. We've told you all season about our great partners at BetUS, but you may not know that at BetUS, they also have a casino, and right now, they're giving you an awesome opportunity for all of our followers here on AFR who like slots, live casino dealers. You can take advantage of BetUS's amazing sign-up bonus, 200% up to $5,000, or 250% for crypto sign-up bonuses up to $5,000. I love my crypto as well. Discover BetUS. The casino playground is there for you. If you're a slots enthusiast, BetUS, they've got the games to raise your pulse. Test your skills with timeless classics. You can explore the newest, hottest slots and feel the casino buzz with BetUS live dealer tables. Sign up now and get 200% sign-up bonus up to $5,000 and 250% crypto sign-up bonus up to $5,000. It's at BetUS. Discover the BetUS Casino Playground.
I grew up a lifelong Raider fan. They're dysfunctional because, they don't seem to understand player personnel and how to get that draft right, because they seem to always be the team that reaches on 2 or 3 guys in a situation they shouldn't be reaching on. So if they can get that fixed, maybe with Brady in tow, they will, and taking care of the front office. So I don't know which one's worse. I know To be a head coach in the NFL is a great gig. It's a great career and a tough job. And at times can be a brutal job because of the expectations. So to me, if you said, okay, Sean, you got the Raiders or the Saints, and you love them both, one's allowing you to hire your staff, the other, and a little less money, the other one's telling you who you have to hire with more money and the same amount of years, everything else being equal, I'm going to the job that lets me hire my people. Because if I'm going to be tied to my success, then I damn well better know it's guys that I'm bringing with me. And then if we go down, we grabbed an oar, it didn't work, move on. But how in the world can you evaluate me if 7 or 6 or 5 or 4, you're telling me who's calling my plays and who you want to hire? Now, the strength and conditioning coach, I get it if you want to keep a guy who's had success in-house, but you know what? If they were 2-time Super Bowl champions in the last 3 years, I understand. They need to change. Even though you have respect for them, those guys will go on and do their thing. You should have 100% ability to hire your own coach. So which one's worse? I'll tell you which one's worse. The one that makes you hire who you want as opposed to who the head coach hires.
You know, it's interesting. We've talked about this because like the Saints have no franchise quarterback. They've got the worst cap situation in the NFL.
Yep.
They've got an aging, expensive roster. Like there's no clear path to winning soon. But we haven't talked at all about the angle you just brought up, which is a great point. So let me ask you, if realistically, if you could make the hire for New Orleans, and there's some sentiment for Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady, do you go the retread hire? Do you go the young offensive mind, the first-time coach? What would you do?
You know, and the term, and Matty, we all use it. I use it on my show. We use it all the time. We call guys retreads, and
you understand.
I know what you're saying. Guys who've been, we do. Yeah, we're saying, well, hell, Bill Belichick's a retread,
right?
And he's got 6 Super Bowl rings as a head coach, and 2 more or so as a coordinator, a coach, so assistant coach. So I get what you're saying. I in certain situations, here's age has zero to do with this for me. And like when we were doing Zoom interviews back in the COVID days and stuff, I need to sit face to face and have a guy walk me through. If he's running the entire organization, what are you going to do? I'm the owner and the general manager. I'm saying, you stand up and tell me why we're going to win and how we're going to do it. And I want to hear that, because not only every guy that stands up on the board can give me X's and O's. Every single guy that's going to be interviewed can walk me through the X's and O's of football. If they can't, then they should take 2 weeks off and quit and find a new profession. It's the other stuff. How are you going to get buy-in? How are you going to change the narrative? How are we going to take a 6 at right guard or a 7 at defensive end and turn him into an 8, or keep him there and improve him, develop them? How are we going to – what are we doing? Who are the people you're bringing along with you to execute this? So, Matty, there's the layers of it are deep, and there's a lot that goes into it. For me, the hire, and I on the surface, I look at it and say, I want Mike Vrabel's leadership and his ability to, even though he played, there's some respect about him that players that he's revered, and he's hard nosed, which I think there's part of that. But you also got to be able to have a little latitude with your players, and I don't mean empower them all to do everything they want, but there's got to be rules that sometimes are broken, but there's got to be steadfast rules that can't be. And then as far as the guy that I'd love to hire, I know there's defense and retreads and new hires. I'm not into just because it's a 32-year-old wonderkind, the wonderkind that's been a guy who's been taught well and been in the Sean McVay philosophy and all those guys that go off, or an Andy Reid tree, that I have to hire them because they're young and energetic. There's plenty of 60-year-olds that are energetic too, but I need a mix of both. I need guys that can relate. I need guys that know how to teach. I need guys that know how to coach. I need guys that know how to lead. I need guys that get buy-in. I need to know, first and foremost, define the roles and then make sure they know their work and then work their plan. You have to plan it and then work it. So I'm a big guy on defining who you are and what we're going to do when you walk in the building. So for my hire, listen, I love Ben Johnson's approach to offensive football. He's aggressive. He's smart. He's up. He wants to score more. He's down. He's not afraid, backed up, to throw it out of his own end zone. Now, personnel matters. We know this, Matty. We can talk all we want about X's and O's. I got news for you. The best X's and O's coaches in the world without Jimmys and Joes and buy-in will be fired in 3 years. Doug Peterson, The buy-in somehow went awry. Guys got hurt, didn't work. And Doug Peterson's a hell of a football coach.
Yeah.
He's got winning experience. The other side of it is, for me, is the buy-in and the leadership, and how are we going to attack it, and then to hire the coordinators. See, one thing that's underlooked, Maddie, and I know we got to get to a break before we come back, but is it's not just the head coach. I want fans to understand, and having seen and listened to people do it and be in the buildings, the guys who really do most of the work the head coach can go right now. If you're Sean Payton, you're calling plays, you're doing it, and they get the buy-in and lead and say, they set the culture. But you can set any culture you want. If the offensive line coach isn't teaching the same culture and has expectations or accountability, and that's another word that you have to have on winning organizations. I don't care how smart you are. If there's no accountability and you let the guys show up 5 minutes late for stretching lines. I've been on a team that did that, and we got our ass kicked too often, and we were way too talented. And then I've been on a team where if you were 2 minutes late to stretching lines on an afternoon Wednesday practice, you got fined, period. They didn't fine you. You fined yourself because you knew going in what the expectations were. So I love Ben Johnson. I love Mike Vrabel. I think Aaron Glenn, obviously New Orleans knows him. I think he's fantastic. I mean, there's some good coaches in the cycle. Age and track record in the past, wins and losses. There's a reason I'm interviewing him. I could care less. I care about what you're doing now, what kind of buy-in you can get. Convince me why we're going to the playoffs and how you're going to build it. Only if I allow you to hire. If you're making me hire my head coaches, my assistant coaches, if you're hiring them and I don't get to, then I've got to move on. But if it's your only offer, they're going to take it. That's the way it is. But my wish list would be Ben Johnson, because I love offensive football.
Sure.
Yet I know defenses win championships as well. But Johnson and Vrabel would be my first two. But I love what Aaron Glenn's done, and I love Joe Brady. As you know, we've talked about what he's done. And the familiarity with him and his comfort zone and having been there at LSU makes it tempting. And what he's done with Buffalo is nothing short of fantastic. Don't judge him by Carolina. Carolina sucked. He had no shot to be successful there. So he shows you. But I got news for you. You better get the guy under center, and you better get the guys up front that can block for him. If you get those two to start, the rest will take care of itself. But give me Ben Johnson. But that's a long line to stand in. And I would think that with Ben Johnson's attitude and confidence, telling him that he has to hire a certain amount of coaches, if they were interviewing him, I wouldn't think that Ben Johnson would be interested in that. Most are going to be interested in somebody who's got a high draft pick for a quarterback or has a quarterback in-house.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, hit the bell so you're notified when we post a new video, and remember to support BetUS, where right now you can get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use that promo code YouTube150.